Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be doing some Into the Emerald Dream card reviews. Death Knight has not been fully revealed yet, so we're going to be starting with Demon Hunter. Demon Hunter has been given a new sort of wild seed package, the Dreadseeds, not Dreadseed, as I originally read this. This is the first of the cards we're going to look at. This is a 4-mana 4/4 Battlecry and Deathrattle summon a random dormant Dreadseed. So what are the Dreadseeds? We have the 1-mana one, dormant for 1 turn, elusive 3/3. 2-mana 4/4, dormant for 2 turns. When this awakens, give you hero +3 attack. And we have the big one, the 3-mana 5/5 Lifesteal Taunt. So compared to the Hunter ones, I would say this one is probably slightly worse, as is this one compared to the Stag. But I think the Hound Dreadseed is probably better than the Taunt Wild Seed we had in the past. But how are the support cards to actually summon them? This one is a quite slow 4-mana 4/4 Battlecry and Deathrattle summon Dreadseed. This one is going to be perhaps a little bit too slow. There isn't a Wild Spirits as well to speed up things, so that's really going to be noticeable. The 1-drop doesn't have Rush. Again, really noticeable. Nothing has Taunt here. This one has Taunt, but it comes out quite slowly. So, while this is a very high value card, it is incredibly slow, particularly because half of the value is on a Deathrattle. So, this has to die. Then your thing's going to be dormant for a couple turns. Then you're eventually going to get it. And there's no way to speed it up. Which makes me think that it might end up being a bit too slow, this package. Particularly, Grim Harvest is... instead of getting a 2/2 here, you're getting draw a card, which is worse early tempo. And the big kicker here is the Wyvern Slumber is not a Wild Spirits. You get to summon 2 Dormant Dreadseeds if you want, but they're not going to be sped up, which is a very big deal. And in compensation, you get the option to deal 2 damage to all minions, which for 3 mana isn't particularly exciting. So overall, not crazy good, these Dreadseeds. Wild Seeds were very, very strong, so there is a lot of room to be worse than Wild Seeds and still be playable. I just think perhaps not insane, all of these. The Grim Harvest might see play. It's not like too bad of a card, draw a card and do something. But the other two I think might be a little bit too slow. Moving on, we have Alara'shi. 5-mana 5/5 Demon Beast. Battlecry, transform minions in your hand into random demons. They keep their original stats and cost. So, this is pretty similar to a card we had in the past. Lady Prestor. We have a look at this. So Lady Prestor in the past was 6 mana, and it transforms minions in your deck into random dragons. Keep original stats and costs. So that's like the best comparison I can find for this card. The difference with this is it's obviously cheaper, but it only transforms minion in your hand into random demons, not in your deck. So better immediately. But the fact that it transforms into demons instead of dragons, I think, is probably worse overall. In the past, Prestor could find you things like Kazakhstan, Malagos, Ysera, these things. Very, very high value. But demons in general are not super high value. Some of them are have tempo plays, but a lot of them are just stats, have life steal, things like that. So it's really not going to be crazy good, I think. Yeah, you can get a Magtheridon every now and then, but I think the pool of demons are just really high. It's probably not worth running this. Alright, next we have Defiled Spear. 4-mana 2/3. After your hero attacks an enemy, deal your hero's attack damage to another random enemy. A lot of text on this one. First thing that speaks to me is that it's only got 2 attack. So on curve, it's going to deal 2 to a target and then 2 to another target. It cannot do 2 to the same target. It has to be another random enemy. So if you've got a 4 health target and you attack into it, it's not going to kill it, ever. Which is important. There is a similar card in Shaman that hasn't really seen play, although it's not honestly that bad of a card. Tempest Hammer. This is 1 attack. After your hero attacks, deal 3 to the lowest health enemy. So this one's a little bit more controlled of where it goes, and you can hit the same target twice. But it has obviously got 1 attack versus 2, and it doesn't scale with your hero gaining more attack. I think maybe this is not as bad as it looks, but it probably could do with being a little cheaper or a bit more attack for it to see play. The problem with it really is there's not great ways to actually gain attack to boost its effect, basically. The best one really that I'm seeing is actually timing it with a Hound Dreadseed. Then you're going to boost it up to like 5 attack maybe with the hero power up to 6, and then you can actually do some work with it, but it feels like it's a bit too expensive mana-wise for it to be that good of a card. Alright, next we have like a Deathrattle package for Demon Hunter coming back. We have this 7 mana one, Ferocious Fellbat. Deathrattle, resurrect a different Deathrattle minion that costs 5 or more. Summon a copy of it. So a lot of stats coming out of this thing. The one you're really supposed to use it on is this Ravenous Fell Hunter. 5 mana, 5/3 demon. Resurrect a different Deathrattle minion that costs 4 or less, summon a copy of it. So it kind of chains, right? You have this one die, then this one dies and it summons 2 of the 5-drop, and then the 5-drops die and you get multiple things from that as well. So as long as you don't get silenced or transformed, this is like a very high value set of minions. This one I think is weaker than the 5, because this one you don't need as much to have gone right for you for it to work, whereas this you need to have played a bunch of things first. But you might want to be playing both of them anyway, just to have extra value in the deck. I think it's pretty strong. There is a noticeable absence of ways to rush your minions. Demon Hunter had access to through Felon Flames, which would be great with this package. However, it's from Festival of Legends, so it's going to be rotating, and there doesn't seem to be a great replacement for that. However, there is some upside. A bunch of the silence effects that are currently in the game are rotating. Deafen is rotating. That's really the main one. But outside of Deafen, there is also Thrall's Gift. This is also rotating. So easy access to Hex is not going to be as prevalent. Shamans can still run Hex if they want to, but they don't have like the flexibility of Thrall's Gift anymore, or like the Bloodlust finisher of it, so it's going to show up a lot less often. So having Deathrattle effects, potentially a lot stronger. So what is the Deathrattle you really want to use with this with? The premier one, I think, is the Arcanite Defense Crystal. This one's going to be insane. It's gained your armor, it's got taunt, and you can res it later down the line. It does let you also use some of the Starship synergy cards that Demon Hunter has access to from the previous expansion, which haven't seen a lot of play, but they're not terrible cards, like the Warp Drive. Draw 2 cards and they cost 2 less. This one's like also okay. So yeah, if you get the defense crystal of this, you can res it 2 times, get 2 more defense crystals. And this is going to work even if it gets silenced. It just has to die. If it gets hexed, it's not going to work. But pretty high value card. You also have access in Demon Hunter to this 3 mana spell, Return Policy. It's still staying in standard. Discover a friendly Deathrattle card you've played this game, trigger its Deathrattle. This thing is so insane. Once you've played the Fell Hunter, it's going to be 3 mana, basically summon 2 Arcanite Defense Crystals and give you another Fell Hunter in hand. So it's going to be extremely strong. Other Deathrattle options, potentially with this deck, you've got like the Bullhog still staying around. It's a decent one. There was a new Deathrattle minion introduced this set, but I feel like you don't want to really play it compared to playing Defense Crystals. So there are some options, but I think Defense Crystal is like the best one. Yeah, it looks very strong. I think it's probably Demon Hunter's best looking cards. There are some Demon synergies potentially with it as well, with like Umpire's Grasp and things like that. You could potentially go down that route too. So yeah, I think these cards should be very good. Alright, we've got Jump Scare. Discover a demon that costs 5 or more with a Dark Gift. Shuffle the other 2 into your deck. So if you're unaware what a Dark Gift is, a bonus attached to a minion. It's not very descriptive here, but basically, when you discover these demons, they're going to have additional bonus effects as well as their base stats. So you have like these options here: +3 attack and life steal, +2/+2 and elusive. So you're going to get offered 3 different demons, and they're going to all have 3 different bonus effects attached to them. I don't think this card's particularly great. Demons tend to be more expensive. This is like just a spell that discovers a demon. We already have a neutral minion that discovers stuff with dark gifts, and that's like not particularly strong. I imagine this is going to fall into the same category where it's not going to be that great. Yeah, a bit meh. Sometimes hitting stuff like Peddler could be good, but otherwise not so great. Alright, we have their big wild god here, Omen. 10 mana, 6/12 Demon Beast. Rush, Wind Fury, Deathrattle, deal 1 damage to all enemies, improved after this attacks. This is a big boy, so if it attacks twice, which is going to happen, I'd say the most times when you play it, it's going to boost its Deathrattle to deal 3 to all enemies. Not too bad. Probably kill 2 things in the process. Might clear the board. And do some face damage, not too bad. I think 10 mana though is like so hard to play. You could maybe play it in a deck which runs Spirit Peddler. Reduce the cost of a random minion in your hand by 6. Maybe a package with that. The problem is this Omen card is also a demon. So if you're trying to play Spirit Peddler and Umpire's Grasp, you're going to run into problems where the Umpire's Grasp is actually going to draw your Omen. And you don't really want that because you can get 8 mana Omen in your hand, but it's still probably a bit too expensive to play. Could be a case like Magtheridon where it's a good card to get off Window Shopper, and that's about it. And I think this new card is going to be pretty similar. Window Shopper is staying in standard. This is a very good one to get off the expensive Window Shopper. Pretty great, but I don't think you can put it in your deck. Most likely. Alright, and finally we have the Nightmarish Dragonkin. It's the only dragon that Demon Hunter's getting. This is the first card they revealed, so it kind of made you think they were going to get a dragon set, but they didn't actually. It's not like the worst card, but I think with the package we talked about earlier, with these things, you want to be rezzing more expensive Deathrattles than this, I think. Maybe if you're playing like a more tempo version, this isn't too bad to res because it's going to give you like lots of hand discounts and it's a bit easier to play onto the board originally. But I think it's a bit like meh. 3 mana for a 4/2 stat line. It's going to get killed pretty easy by pretty much anything. I think we can afford to go for Bullhog or go for Arcanite Defense Crystals instead and just skip this thing entirely. That's Demon Hunter's set for us, guys. I think overall they got a pretty good set. The Dreadseeds have some potential. It's hard to like get too excited over them because they are obviously weaker than Wild Seeds. But Wild Seeds were like insane. They got nerfed multiple times. And so there's definitely a lot of room for these still to be good. And I think the Deathrattle package with particularly these 2 cards is going to be very, very strong. And it's going to open up a whole new archetype for Demon Hunters. I'm pretty excited for that. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. We'll be going for Druid next.